You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Cupra.
Hello and welcome again to Line Noise. As part of our ongoing series of episodes to celebrate Nitsa's 30th anniversary, I spoke to Marea Stamper, aka the Blessed Madonna, an American DJ and producer who holds Nitsa close to her heart. We talked about her memories of playing the club. We talked about Midwest raves. We talked about being massive by stealth, calls from Kylie Minogue, and taking Chicago house into the major label system. I might be early, but I'm not wrong, she says, and amen to that. I hope you enjoy this episode, which comes to you with support from Cupra. So thank you so much for coming along. It's really a pleasure to have you here. One of the things I wanted to ask about, I wanted to I knew you were coming to Barcelona to play at Nitsa, and we love Nitsa. They're kind of like a sort of sister club to us. Didn't happen in the end for various reasons, but you'll be back. There's no.
Oh yeah, they're not keeping me out of Nitsa. I mean that is one of the clubs that I have from the very beginning a very deep tie with.
I say Ferran sends his love.
Oh, I love him.
He's great.
Oh, he's very good. I love him very much. He is a very, very dear friend and has been such a tremendous ally to me and to dance music in general. He's a brilliant man, and his mind is only exceeded by his heart.
Do you know, I've never seen him DJ, though.
Oh, great DJ.
Yeah. I was going to ask, actually, Nitsa, do you remember like the first time you played there?
Yeah, there's different parts of it. I think I played on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think Jamie Liddell was playing in the main area, which was very intimidating for me because Jamie Liddell is like a genius. And I just thought, oh my God, nobody's going to come in here and see me. And it was great. Everybody was so good to me. And then when I started to play in the big room, I think the first, I played a couple of times in there, but finally there was one where we were going to really like turn it into a We Still Believe. And we had the booth on the floor. I like to be at eye level with people. I don't like a stage, which means I've gotten into the wrong job. But they were kind enough to sort of allow it, and then dancers wrapped around on the stage behind. And when I came out, it was so packed and I couldn't really see. And my tour manager at the time, Rupert, he was quite a bit taller than me. He's an ex-pro footballer, and also just a fantastic DJ and producer. And he and I, we had been playing together forever, and we actually learned how to produce records together, like literally together, like manual reading together in the mid 2000s, the mid aughts. And I remember him leaning over to me and he said, "Now I know you can't see, but it's really, really good." And I was like, okay. He's like, "Don't worry, just play your game. It's working." And I was like, okay.
Because I guess not being able to see kind of means you can't really read what's happening as well, no?
That's right. And if I was somebody that kind of went in with like a pre-planned set, it wouldn't matter.
Press that button.
It would just be more about getting the cues right for the confetti cannons or I don't know, like naked girls with champagne bottles sticking out of their asses or whatever it is that is the thing that people do now. But it's not how I am.
And do you have, still asking about Nitsa, do you have like a song that really takes you back there?
Well, actually, last time I was there, there are many. There are many. I mean, I can't express to you how important Nitsa is to me, and it's just like a singular place for me. But the last time that I was there, it was kind of right at the tail end of the Renaissance tour, Beyonce's Renaissance tour. And I had this idea to do when I was DJing, just to manually, by hitting stop on the CDJ, to do the everybody on mute challenge. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. No, I don't know. No.
Okay, so there was this thing that Beyonce did on the Renaissance tour. They would give everybody these little cards that said, on energy, she says, look around, everybody on mute. And then it would stop the whole arena. And the challenge was each city to see who could stay quiet. And she would stop, look around, everybody on mute. And then which city, and then over time, as the tour went on through America, people got it more. And so by the time they get to Chicago and the South and whatever, I mean, she just has total control. And I knew that people would know it. So I played Energy. And when she says, look around, everybody on mute, I just stopped the CDJ to see if people would do it. And they totally did.
Wow. That's impressive. Particularly with a Barcelona crowd who made quite a lot of noise, quite frankly. How long did you have them quiet?
Quite a few seconds, maybe. But I mean, it's hard to get a room to be quiet for even 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. What a moment.
You had a couple of people who were like, or whatever, but in general, there's a lot of overlap. If you like the Renaissance and you come to my show, you'll definitely know what that is.
But look, I love the fact you didn't introduce it or anything. You were just like, right, I'm just doing it.
I just assume they will know.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to trust that. You can sit around and think about what people will or won't know, and that goes wide in a lot of, you could go, that's a wide concept. But I think you just got to trust your crowd to a degree. And sometimes that trust is maybe not met with the response or that you would like or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of in general in DJing right now there's a lot of playing to the lowest common denominator, and there's this sort of there's this sort of catering to the wisdom of the crowd, and that's not our job. I mean, it's our job at times to find things that maybe wouldn't be cool or underground, and find a way to reposition that inside a set. But our jobs are to try to push things forward. I don't always do that perfectly, but I do think that there is this sort of it's like limbo. How low can you go to create a viral moment? There's a lot of really terrible DJing out there right now, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who would tell you that mine is among it. They're wrong, but I don't want to be on the search for low-hanging fruit all the time.
So, talking about that, when was the last time you cleared a dance floor? Like you played something sort of so different that it kind of cleared? I mean, probably many, many years. Maybe never, I don't know. Oh,
no. Oh, I've cleared so many dance floors. Are you kidding me? If you've not cleared dance floors, oh my God. I mean, I've been DJing since I started DJing when I was 20, and I'm 46 now, turning 47 in 3 seconds. I've been DJing for almost 30 years, which is a terrifying concept. If you're not clearing floors, you're not trying anything. Or you haven't played in enough shitty places that didn't want you to be there in the first place, which I think is like a really important part of being a DJ. Those like early years where you're somewhere that maybe really they don't even want you to be there. Like, you know, you're playing in a restaurant or something. And my God, I that was me for the first, 15 years of my, 13 years of my DJ career. So I've cleared many floors. The last time I cleared a floor, I don't think it was precisely my fault. Because what was happening was it was the end of a festival and everybody had to get out while they could, what they call the egress.
Yeah.
The egress had started. And it was kind of like, if you're not camping here, you have to get out on one tiny road. And, so there have been situations like that. Cleared a floor, no. But, one of the pitfalls also of just like touring big festivals in general, which is not my native environment, but I have adapted to it. But sometimes you'll get put on at the same time as a band.
Yeah.
That everybody really wants to see. Or maybe you're interrupting that band's set because the shape of the festival or whatever. Those things happen. Actually, last time I played Coachella, I was terribly afraid that I was going to play for no one. Like really afraid. And then all of a sudden, right in the last little bit before I came on, it was like, boom, 5,000 people, whatever.
See, I'm really interested in when you started DJing, because for the longest time, I thought you were from Chicago, but you're not. You're from Kentucky, which is not a place I know much of. But you started DJing there, right, in Kentucky, or?
Yeah, but Kentucky Kentucky was considered at the time that this was a thing to be a part of the Midwest rave scene, and that term Midwest doesn't really precisely have a lot of geological or topographic correctness. The anchors there are kind of like St. Louis and Chicago and Detroit. Those are the big cities, but all of the satellite cities up the major highways, I-65, I-71, I-75, that highway system that runs up and down America, kind of from the southeast up into the actual Midwest, which even then it's like not quite there, but it's kind of like from the southeast up into the Rust Belt. And so you have all these smaller cities in Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky and Tennessee and whatever. I mean, America's a big country, so we're used to driving really long distances. So to drive 5, 6, 7, 8 hours for a party every weekend, maybe 2-3 times in a weekend, totally normal. So you're kind of always on this like path. Actually, in that incredible, well, it comes from a book, but also there's a mini series called Station 11, which is...
Oh, God, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you know how they're on the wheel?
Yes, yeah.
The wheel is that's kind of a thing, right? Like, but it kind of, for us, Kentucky is next to Indiana, Indiana is next to Illinois. So, yeah, I'm not from Chicago, but...
Yeah.
From the time I was like 15, I was in Chicago and St. Louis and Detroit on a regular basis. Like, and when I say regular basis, I mean pretty much every weekend.
Because you once said, and I apologize for quoting your words back to you, you said you were like a dirty shithead raver.
Oh, yeah. My God. I can remember one time me and this girl were in some dude's apartment in St. Louis, and he was wherever he was, just DJ. And like we ran out of stuff to wear and we were just like wearing his clothes. Then he came home and I had on his like, pants. Yeah, I mean, really the first, in particular, from 1992 to like 99, that was like not a particularly law-abiding period of time for me.
It's really interesting because you, for me, seem to have become massive by stealth. Like, I don't remember when I first heard your name or your music or you DJing, but it must have been many years ago. And then I don't know when I kind of like, did you have a moment when you were like, I've become really big?
I am still confused about that. Like someone like yourself will say that, and there's this kind of like, because I don't really go out. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars. I don't really drink. I don't, like, my friends are like normal people. Well, not normal. They're all also former dirty shithead ravers. But like, they're like, they have real jobs now. Like one of them's in like, digital security and one's like a doctor. And like I've had the same friends since I was like a teenager. And so they don't treat me differently. And I don't have a lot of contact with people outside of that group of people. But like there was kind of a pause. There was kind of when things started to get weird. I think when I went to go work at Smart Bar, and like I wasn't cool in Chicago. Like that didn't happen because I was cool. It happened because I had worked with someone who needed an assistant, and then he left his job. But when you go work at Smart Bar, which is, like one of, at that time, maybe 5-6 clubs that you could really get booked at, then everybody that would never have said a word to you at a party, then suddenly you're kind of like everybody's best friend because you can help them get on lineup or get the guest list or whatever. And that was really weird. And so when I started there and I got the what we call in America, the talent buyer, what you all call here, the booker. When I got the talent buyer job, I hired my friend Jason, who was one of the before times people, and we were like no new friends. And the only people that we would kind of like bring in were like people that we had had after parties with in like, Jason's laundry room or whatever in his apartment. We had a lot of laundry room parties. That was the thing. So I think being a little bit insular, I have added people to my life since then, but in general, because I sort of stick to my people from forever. I have moments where I kind of go. Somebody asked me the other day, like, "What is it like to be like a star?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. Like, I haven't showered in 3 days. Like, go ahead, like, ask Kylie Minogue what it's like. I do not know." But it's naive and dishonest to say that I don't have any sense that things have changed, but I am in deep denial about it and fear, and it scares me how definitely things like just changed really quickly. There was a real and there have been multiple points. There was like the first time I cracked the RA poll, RIP, that was like wait, what? Number 8. That was like, what? And then that changes everything. And then, I don't know, I guess it's like the frog in the pot of water where they raise the degree 1 degree at a time until the frog gets boiled alive. I've possibly been boiled alive and have not really come to terms with it.
See, this is one thing that I find quite fascinating, is because your debut album, Godspeed, is out in 2 days, which is brilliant. I was just on Spotify, and it's literally got a countdown to it coming out. So it's like 1 day, 10 hours, or anyway, whatever. And it's coming out on a major label, and it's basically, to my ears, it's basically kind of Chicago house album. And it's not the kind of thing you get a lot of on a major label, which kind of like makes me think like it's kind of a fascinating place you occupy, right? Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah, it's weird because you're too underground to be overground, but you're too overground to be underground. And there's a little like, and you'd either kind of like just accept that and go, it is what it is. But I mean, it's a little discomfort. It's kind of like having like a shoe, like one shoe that's a little too small and one that's a little too big. It's still confusing for me because like I made a joke about this in an interview about like, how like right now I've got 3 records on the radio in Europe, and like what does that mean? What, like we are in this unique time where like a lot of underground artists are kind of crossing into the mainstream. I do think that with this album, I've done something that is probably even pushing against the boundary of what that would mean for people in general. I always approach the album with the idea that they were only going to let me do this once. And so if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way and use the time that I had to like learn from as many people as I could and to like write with as many people as I could. I mean, there was like so many things I had to learn. And even things like, okay, we don't have a choir, so we have to build one out of 3 people. And what does that look like from an engineering standpoint? And I, in the beginning of the album making, it's just one of those things. There's this little feller, this little quiet, nervous Argentinian feller, who was about 25 years old at the time, who got assigned as the assistant in the room that I was recording in. And finally, at some point, somebody didn't show up, and we were just kind of sitting around in there going, what are we going to do? And we started talking, and our relationship kind of crossed from him being the guy that would, help plug in the things or whatever to like, actually us just talking about things and listening to music. And I remember one day we were in the studio and I was like, you know what? I was like, have you seen Stop Making Sense? Do you know what that is? You're so young. You've never seen this. And he was like, I don't know what that is. He's like, I was like, oh, we've got to watch it. And so we turned the lights down and we sat together and we watched Stop Making Sense. And maybe that was not the right thing to do on the label's dime, but there was a lot of like, just like having to learn how to do stuff. Just, I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. And some of it was, his name is Pat Alvarez, and he's incredible. And now he's working with everybody on the planet. But there was genuinely, the album was me and Pat and everybody else that's kind of in there, like really punching above our weight as a group, and me first and foremost.
I think you said that you diagrammed songs you considered perfect, including Fleetwood Mac's Landslide and Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. What did that look like exactly? Like what does it mean, kind of diagramming them?
Well, so I have this little notation system that only really I understand. Pat does a little bit, but like, so I would break out, I would write the lyrics and I would break them out into bars, like how they fell into bars. but then also some of it was like, and then I would notate on the side where there was kind of a modulation in the chords, or where there was a bridge, and how did that bridge work in comparison? You know, was it like a record that was really in a major key that then slipped into a minor for 8 bars or whatever it was? So that was a thing. But then also, like, what did the rhythm of it look like? How did the words fall on the beat? You know, some people were more free with it. Like, you know, some lines in Born to Run with Bruce Springsteen, like they just read like, you know, Jack Kerouac or something, you know, like they're more open. And then some things like Landslide is like so tight and neat, and I even like, Blue, Joni Mitchell, like things like that. And so it was just like trying to understand why this is great and why it's perfect, and then to pull everything out of it, and then you have this kind of like skeletal thing that doesn't have any actual notes, it doesn't have any actual words, it doesn't have anything at all, but just structure. And some of those songs did not make it onto the album. There's a record that I think is the best record I've ever written, and I just couldn't get it in there.
Really? Is it going to come out though?
Yeah. I mean, I'm halfway through the next album.
Good. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. I think there are still songs in which, like, from a writerly perspective, I was punching above my weight, or maybe couldn't find the right person who would even agree to sing it. I mean, Edge of Saturday Night, we lost our first vocalist on it. I mean, the original demo is just Jen, my friend and partner. Jen, she has this little soft voice, and she's singing. She's very shy. And then she knew Ray because she had known Ray since Ray was a teenager. And so we had Ray come over on like a Sunday, and Ray's just like, boom, perfect. But then everything that happened to her, very rightly happened to her. And so then we lost her because she is taking over the world, and the schedules were in conflict. And so Edge was just like sitting there. And that's a record that, like, for me, like, the writing on it just felt like really strong and good, and like the kind of thing I was trying to do. But and thank God my, fairy godmother, Kylie Minogue, showed up and was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But she's like, this took a long time because it's hard. Like, she's like, it's hard to sing. And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I like to write tongue twisters into stuff. There's a lot of that.
I absolutely love Kylie Minogue. I mean, who doesn't? Yeah. So, what was she like to work with? I mean, you mentioned it a bit, but yeah, what was she like? I can imagine it being a brilliant experience.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I wasn't there.
Okay. It was all remote.
Not even. Someone sent it to her, and she liked it, and just went to her house and did it.
She's a pro, eh?
Oh, she's so good. And I was like, whoa. And I didn't know it was going to happen.
So what?
I was just told one day, like, you're going to get a phone call, and when you get it, you're going to want to pick it up. And I was like, I don't like surprises. What is this about? And my manager was like, Kylie cut Edge, and you're going to want to talk to her and listen to it. I was like, what? I mean, my reaction is the same as anybody's would have been. I had no idea she'd even heard it.
Have you met now?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh yeah, we went to Ibiza. We went to Ibiza together, and created an enormous amount of chaos. We went into Circo Loco, and she jumped up on the booth with the fan in her hair, throwing it around, and did Edge at Circo Loco in the booth. And the next day we took over Pikes, which is where Freddie Mercury used to live. It's like the location of the Club Tropicana video by Wham.
Amazing video.
Yeah, it's great. And I have this little club there in Freddie Mercury's bedroom. And so I had a show booked there. We didn't tell anybody that Kylie was coming in, but she and I went to go because we didn't want to have like a lot of plans. We were going to shoot the video. And we're just kind of going around looking at stuff. There's like this big roller skate. There's a tennis court, a pink tennis court, and all of this stuff. And then in the end, we just kind of caused total pandemonium in this club, and jumped in the pool with our clothes on at the end. And Rita Ora was there. That was weird. Like there was a lot of like weird stuff going on.
I've just realised what a stupid observation that was, given that there's the video. But there we go.
Fine.
Another of my favourite people, you've worked with, Jamie Principle.
Oh, Jamie's one of my best friends.
Back from the Chicago days, or?
Yeah, so I know Jamie. I think we actually probably first met the first time, I hate to say it, at Frankie Knuckles' funeral. We were seated next to each other. I think that was the first time that we met in person. But then with all the memorial planning and stuff that was going on, he was around. And when we did the memorial in Smart Bar, Jamie came in and did Your Love and Waiting on My Angel in the booth there. And that was incredible. And then when I had to leave Smart Bar because my touring life took off, it was just devastating. Like I was like embarrassed in a way, because I had to tell Joe, who is the owner and who is very much like a father figure to me, and who really cared for me in times that were really hard. When my own dad was like my biological dad, you hear his voice on the album. You can probably tell from him being on the album that our relationship has been a bit fraught at times. And, he was my dad was an alcoholic and a drug addict. And there was a period in time when I was at Smart Bar where my dad was getting off of OxyContin and wasn't a particularly nice person. And that was right when I was getting married. And it was so hard. It was like right when I was getting married, right when I was starting to tour. And it was just awful. And Joe and then also my stepdad, which I don't even like to call him that, my other dad, they were both really great. So Joe came to my wedding and obviously my mom and my stepdad. So it was really tough to tell Joe that I needed to like leave to go do this thing, because a thing that I've been trying to do for a long time had happened. But so I know Jamie through that period of time. And then when I was touring, Jamie and I were kind of holed up in this Swedish, I don't know, I guess you'd call it an inn, or I don't know, whatever, up in the way out, like very Midsummer vibes. Like, I'm really glad that I had not seen Midsummer, or maybe even Midsummer hadn't come out at this time, because if it had, I would have been scared shitless. And Jamie and I were in this little place together, and he was like, hey. And I was like, hey. And so we were just out in the middle of nowhere in this, Swedish, not Swiss, in Sweden, in the middle of nowhere, hours and hours away from anything. And we just talked forever. And when we got back to Chicago, started working together.
So one thing I'm trying to do with some of these interviews, I'm trying to sort of trace 30 years of dance music history.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Well, yeah, it's tricky. And it so happens I've got to 2014 to 2016, which is kind of when you were getting really big. I mean, your first production came out in 2012. Also, that was a time that like my second child had just been born, so I was not going out at all. But what do you sort of? Is there a kind of music that takes you back to that time?
2014, 2016.
Hugely specific, I know.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I'm the wrong person to ask about this because, like, I think there are people who are always kind of on the chase for like what the next like record that hasn't come out that's great is, and I'm that's something I care about. But also, I think the thing that I probably broke through on as much as anything was being willing to break away from that, and to say that a record from 1987 has as much value for me, and that I don't need to be on the hunt. If those records come, they come, but we go through really dry patches, and a lot of my DJing has been in response to periods in time where I didn't think there was like a whole great number of records coming out that I loved. There were great records that came out, in that period, obviously. I'm actually curious. I now that you've said it, let's see. But you know what? There were some really, really great records that came out. The one thing I would point to in particular is there was a bunch of the Head High records. It was kind of when Giggling was doing their thing. I did like that record by Edward, Skating Beats. That was a really big record at the time. Also like Theo Parrish Footwork. That was incredible. Starting to see Moody Man, that had a great record that year. The big one from that, and a record that really blew my mind was 2014 is when Floor Plan put out Never Grow Old.
Oh, tune.
And also that great Jack J record, Something on My Mind. I mean, there's some really lovely things, but it's important to point out that also that is the period where Sophie dropped Lemonade on Numbers.
Another tune.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today. I appreciate you taking the time so much. One more thing I want to ask. As I said, your album comes out on Friday. How do you feel now? And how are you going to feel when midnight starts rolling across and the album kind of, drops onto it, but kind of goes live basically and is available?
I mean, I'm a little bit in mourning over it. Like, there was a wonderful thing that it felt like, because there was this little group of bandits that was really unified in like a mission and it was like a long mission, and it involved you need to go down into the clubhouse every day and spend time with, Pat and Nikki Nair and James Vincent McMorrow and Nahen from Joy Anonymous and Chin Jin, and like, for somebody that has trouble like letting new people in, the intimacy and the friendship that came from that was so great. And then the second that, it was like the end of lockdown, it was like everybody just got thrown out on tour. Like, everybody is on permanent world tour. I've seen Hen once in a year. I used to see him every day. I struggle to see Pat. I used to see Pat 3 times a day. That part is really hard. And also there's a little it was just nice to have that mission.
Yeah.
That like really singular mission in the space to do it. And to let people in, as somebody that is, everybody describes me as outspoken, and that's true, but it's not, because it's more like saying what I think is not like something I'm like addicted to. It's more like if you feel like you have to vomit, it's going to come out whether you like it or not, and it might be gross and embarrassing. Like, it's not like my natural self is, maybe even a little bit agoraphobic. Like, I'd much rather be talking to you like this than any of us being in a bar or in public or whatever. Like, so that part of it, just like the letting go of like being able to be in the kind of like communication and creativity and intimacy of friendship, that part, I'm excited, but also I'm confident in the record. Like nobody can tell me anything about it. Like, it's fine. Like, people can feel however they want to feel about it. I don't care, because I know what it is. And if they don't get it now, I might be early, but I'm not wrong. And there'll be people who like it and people who hate it, and people who hate it now who like it in 3 years when they don't have to worry about what their bros say. Like, all of this stuff, it's nebulous, and most of it's horse shit. I mean, on any given day on the internet, it's like half people telling you that they love you and they don't know you at all, and half the people telling you that they hate you and they don't know you at all, and half the people will hate the album and have not even listened to it. I'd actually say 75% people will have an opinion on it and never. So there's a little bit of like, okay, reminder, like you're going into one of those periods of time, like don't read the comments. Like, it's just like that's not my business. And like, whenever something like this is coming, not that I've been in precisely this position before, but whenever there's kind of like a big thing coming that's gonna, fire up the comments section, I have to remind friends of mine that like, please don't tell me if you saw something about me on the internet. Like, I don't need to know. Like, it's not my business. I don't want to know. Like, if you wrote a beautiful defense of me, that's fantastic. I appreciate that. I don't need to see it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like, I had to remind my, also okay, Mom, is your Facebook account private? Like, you can't accept friend requests from people you don't know, stuff like that. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of shit is getting weird. But that said, I'm extremely proud of the album. I want people to like it. You never know. If you shoot an arrow and it goes real high, hooray for you.
I like what you said. I might be early, but I'm not wrong.
Oh, I'm not. I mean, this album, if this is the hill I die on, good. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't. Like, I am confident enough in myself as a listener, and also even as much or more than me, like other people that I trust. Like, I do trust Nikki Nair. Yeah. Like, I trust those people. Like, when we were in America, in Chicago, we did this kind of like live remix leak thing. I just did it all DJing, and then people showed up, Uffy and Jamie and everybody, and we didn't tell anybody. We said some people were coming, but not everybody. And there was just like moments where like Jamie took me aside and he was like, this is, don't let anybody in your head. Like, don't, he's like, this, you did it. And so I'm not really, I'm the next weeks, I'm just going to keep reminding myself that it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks as long as Jamie Principle likes it.
Exactly.
Like who, like, I'm glad that people are getting Wi-Fi in their mother's basements. It's good for them.
Look, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Hopefully, well, I'm sure you'll be back in Barcelona sometime very soon.
As soon as possible.
Exactly.
And so I'm going to hug Ferran until I break his neck.
And so you should. I mean, maybe not break his neck, but like give him a big hug.
In a loving way, gentle.
Well, lovely to speak to you today. And thank you so much. And yeah, soon Barcelona again.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you then. Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to Radio Primavera Sound, proudly presented by Cupra.